Tim Whalen Jr. from the Metro West Daily is beat writer who covers the Boston Red Sox and is ready for the start of a new season. And he joins us here on Big Board Sports on 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio. Good morning, Tim. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you doing, Roger?
Good, Tim. Thanks for a few minutes. We just heard from Buster Olney, who said that the Red Sox have really had a tough spring, of not done well, some injuries obviously to Price, and was a little concerned about this Boston team as they get set to start the new year. You agree or not with that?
I do. It's really dicey timing for some of these injuries that are popping up. You have, the Price is the big one, the headliner, but then you have one that I'm really keeping an eye on is Tyler Thornburg, the reliever they got from Milwaukee. They traded Travis Shaw for him, and he was supposed to be a nice bridge to Craig Kimbrell, and right now he's dealing with, I think he's starting the year on the disabled list, and he's dealing with a shoulder. So they've had this history recently of acquiring relievers, Dombrowski especially, Carson Smith last year. He might be ready to go by June, but he looked like a good eighth-inning guy for them, and then we didn't see him all year. So that's another one that I have my eye on. But you look in the AL East, and there's still the class of the AL East right now with what Toronto lost with Edwin Encarnacion. I mean, the Red Sox lost Ortiz as well, but within the division, I think they'll fare pretty well, and where the Yankees are right now as well. But I think there's cause for concern. The optimism of mid-February has worn off a little bit. It's funny how long a spring training can seem that from mid-February to the end of March, the story can change so much.
What exactly is wrong with Price, and where do we stand with him right now? I mean, how close is he, or far away is he from taking the mound in the game?
Well, that's the great mystery. He hasn't really pitched off a mound since the end of February. So I'm thinking we're not going to see him till at least May. They're going to, give him that much more time. And these stories kind of develop at the same pace sometimes when it comes to an elbow and when it comes to Tommy John. And I know it started out around the NFL Combine because he had to go see Dr. James Andrews in Indianapolis during the NFL Combine and get up there. And so since then, it's been this kind of dance of not needing surgery now, but maybe eventually needing surgery. So it's all these kind of buzzwords that you hear that you hold on to and say, that doesn't sound too good. So I don't want to say it'll be a lost year for him. Anything could happen, but, given that he already has dealt with some loss of velocity from what we had seen when he was in, Toronto and Tampa and Detroit, it is cause for concern. So my guess would be around sometime in May, but that to me that's the best case scenario.
Tim, Chris Honorato with you here too, and you can speak better to the immediate fan base in the New England area, but here in the capital region of New York, I know Red Sox fans are thinking, man, we are so deep, we are so talented, especially if healthy, that this could be a World Series run. Whereas I look at the roster and I say, I don't see anybody on this roster with real postseason success outside of obviously a guy like Dustin Pedroia, but
Sure.
With Ortiz gone and Price hasn't done it in the postseason, Sale obviously hasn't, Kimbrell along those same lines. So where would you put this team's, I guess, optimism radar if they're healthy in terms of being able to be a World Series contender?
Oh, right up there with anyone. But again, first off, the Major League Baseball postseason to me is such a crapshoot. Last year against the Indians, the Red Sox looked like the favorite going in, and just 3 games, it was like blinking, you missed them in the playoffs. So that's one thing unto itself. But I agree with you. You look at how those big bats, the killer bees are of Betts and Bogarts, Benintendi, and who am I missing? Jackie Bradley. They just come the postseason. It was a different animal altogether. And those young guys, they have such a good young core, especially with that outfield. But come postseason, that's when you really learn it's put up or shut up time. I mean, you think about the big hits David Ortiz had to have through the years for them to have postseason success, for the to save them. You look at the ALCS against Detroit. If he doesn't hit that grand slam in Game 2, then that's a different series, and Detroit probably ends up going to the World Series. So I think you're absolutely right. But again, they're going to give us a fun ride this summer, and they do have the they do have the horses, and Chris Sale is one of them, and he's it's almost like that acquisition was the anti-Price in a way. Not to say that, we're not cashing in the chips on David Price yet, not at all. But Chris Sale, he stays off Twitter. He does his own thing. He has this funky delivery that everyone, it does look like an elbow injury waiting to happen, but he still hasn't had his yet. Hoping for Red Sox and Red Sox fans' sake, especially that he holds up. But from everything I've heard and seen from Sale, he looks like a great acquisition. But outside of that, there's reason for optimism, but temper it a little bit, I guess.
We're talking with Tim Whalen Jr., Boston Red Sox beat writer on Metro West Daily here on Big Board Sports on 104.5 A Team ESPN Radio. How about Pablo Sandoval? Only played in 3 games last year, undergoing surgery to repair a labrum tear in his left shoulder. He's back. Looked like he's a slimmed down version of Pablo. What's your thoughts on Pablo, and can he be a difference maker this year?
Yeah, I really do think he can be. He's been popping the ball. I think he's hitting 350 or something like that in the spring. He had another homer. So it's not just, you're not even used to him having this kind of pop. It's been so long since he's been relevant or someone that you look at with optimism at this time. This is his 3rd year with the Red Sox, and 2015 didn't go his way, and then last year obviously he came in out of shape again. But yeah, he's slimmed down. He's always had good feet. Like as big as he is, he still has a quick feet and quick hands. He's got the hand-eye. This is the best hand-eye sport in the world, and he's still got that. And he's proving he's committed now. Always easy to say that on whatever this is, March 30th. We'll see if it holds up once guys get into their old habits. And for him, it's really, his old eating habits. You hope that someone's really monitoring him and all that. And not to say that, I don't know. I think sometimes a lot more is made of that. All the Red Sox press corps is pretty deep, and everyone has smartphones. So the last 2 years, they snap a picture of Pablo, and that blows up, and it just turns into something. It's the toothpaste is out of the tube a little bit. So you just he's a reason for optimism. He's been such a reason for people to speak out against the acquisition the last couple of years. So. Given the injuries and everything, he could be, he could be a silver lining.
Hey, Tim, you mentioned Tyler Thornburg from Milwaukee. What about the addition of first baseman Mitch Moreland from Texas? He's a new guy, new face in this Red Sox team. What do you expect out of him, and how big of an addition do you think that will prove to be this season?
I think it'd be great. I guess right now he's dealing with the flu, and there's some cause for concern. Their first base situation to open the season is a little bit of a mess with what Hanley Ramirez has his shoulder, and Moreland, it's dealing with a mean flu, it sounds like. But outside of that, I think, he won the Gold Glove last year. That's something to consider. And to add to an already very good defense the Red Sox had last year, tied for the least amount of errors in the American League, and some, 987 fielding percentage. But so Moreland will add to that. But, hitting-wise, I think he's got a good swing for Fenway. I think they know how to, when they scout a lefty hitter coming in, he only hit 233 last year with Texas, but he's got he's got a good inside-out swing if you watch him, that really could serve him well to, pepper the wall. That's always the dream anytime they get a left-handed hitter, and it's what, going back to David Ortiz, when they first acquired him and he was platooning with Jeremy Giambi. Ortiz, you kind of forget when he first got to the Red Sox in 2003. He went the other way a lot more, I think, than he ended up doing once they were shifting on him. But you used to see him knock some over the monster, off the monster there. So obviously it's not so much Moreland as that Ortiz isn't there, and I think we're really gonna see, what a void Ortiz is in the lineup this year. So making up his production is a tall task, but I think Moreland, I like that acquisition a lot by Dombrowski, and hopefully he and Hanley Ramirez. That's a good a good way to figure out the DH situation. It sounded like everyone said, okay, Edwin Encarnacion, come to Boston. That'll be that easy. But they found a more creative way and a little slightly cheaper way to remedy it.
Tim, last one from us, man, and this is Roger's show, and he doesn't know it, but I'm going to conduct an informal survey of my own here amongst the baseball guys we have on the program. If I'm going to guess it's Mike Trout at the top of the list. So if you can't take Mike Trout and you can pick anybody else in Major League Baseball, who are you picking?
Oh man, well, I mean, based on his year last year, Mookie Betts would be a nice thought. Does it have to be position player? Because Clayton Kershaw.
Nope. You can take a pitcher. Yeah.
It's really Mike Trout and everyone else.
Right.
You look at what Mookie Betts did last year, and what Mike Trout's done that like exact year for 5 years.
Right.
And he's doing it a little bit with an Angels team that's been scuffling for a few years as well. So he's doing it a little bit, but not in anonymity. But another guy out in Colorado, Nolan Arenado. If you've watched him, that third baseman. I know I'm just turning into a naming guys thing now, he's another one that sometimes is a little bit obscurity in Colorado. They have a great lineup, but no pitching to go with it. So that's kind of always their story. But the guy besides Mike Trout, I'll go with Kershaw.
There you
How
go.
about that?
All right, I like that.
He's always there. Last year he had his kind of postseason woes, but he showed out. Going into the NLCS, the Cubs were just a wagon that wasn't going to be stopped, and I think even if the Red Sox had gotten there against the Cubs, it would have been a struggle. So, Kershaw, I know he might have had some struggles, I think, in the NLCS against the Cubs, but for the most part, that guy is just he's nails, and year after year, he's what you'd want, to helm the rotation, because we know that pitching. No team's winning that whole thing without horses at the top of the rotation.
Tim Whalen Jr., Boston Red Sox beat writer, Metro West Daily. Thanks for a few minutes. We'll be back in touch as we get set to begin this season for real. The games count starting on Sunday.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Appreciate
the time.
Take care. Tim Whalen with us here on Big Board Sports.